This will all be edited out in post for the YouTube. Thank goodness.
Well, this is the most fun part.
Right? Setting everything up is the most fun issue. Alright, so I guess we should do a little intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to TomoChoco, a Yuri podcast that I created. Because I just have a lot of Yuri manga, and I really watch a lot of Yuri anime, and I just wanted to talk about it. So Jules, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
What up? My name is Jules. I'm 19 and never freaking learned how to read. Not really. I'm so sad I cannot do that joke anymore. It's my favorite thing. My name is Jules. Full name Julia. Don't like being called Julia, so I like being called Jules. I'm a queer Norwegian something. Never really understood my own sexuality. Big feminist. Art student. I think that's mostly me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got everything in that.
Yeah, and I guess I should probably... You went into such detail, now I feel like I should. I'm 24. I live in Seattle, as evidenced by the absurd amount of plaid that I'm wearing. I'm a teacher. I mold the youth. That's what I do in my spare time. And I also sing in the Seattle Video Game Orchestra and Choir, which you might be watching this podcast on, because I know their Twitch is set to auto-host me. So if you're watching from there, hello, welcome. Thank you for being a fan of our music. And if you couldn't tell by my mug, this is my sexual identity.
Woo!
Alright, so let's go ahead and just get straight into talking about some Yuri stuff. I wrote a bunch of notes, but of course I put them all under my microphone, so I can't actually see.
I have 0 notes. I'm not up to date at all. I'm also really bad at watching anime. But I'm trying. I don't have any time for anything fun anymore. I never get to play with watch anything, but I'm trying. So that's me.
I have not had a lot of time, especially with like the holidays and stuff, to catch up. I think I'm like 2 seasons or 3 behind on anime. There hasn't been anything that I've wanted to watch out either, so I haven't really watched anything. I have been watching this season. I did get into The Ancient Magus Bride, which is gorgeous and highly recommend it.
Tell me about it.
It's not a Yuri, but it's great.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the last Yuri I watched was Yuri Kuma. That's how far behind I am.
Citrus
apparently the stream is frozen.
Oh, is the stream frozen?
No, it's low frames. I'm my best friend is texting me while this is happening because he's
perfect.
He's adorable.
Well, I appreciate that.
But he said that Twitch is having problems, just like in general.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
Well,
so that may be why.
Yeah, well, good news. We are still recording this through OBS, so if the stream is garbage, it'll be on YouTube in like an hour. So
yeah, we will work it out.
I know there's a way. God damn it, Matt showed me how to change my frame rate and shit to make streaming better.
Yeah, it should be in the...
Is it just settings?
Yeah, it's in the settings.
Yeah,
it's in
video.
One of the tabs.
Your video is currently active. Please turn out any outputs to change your video settings. Great.
Yeah.
So, do you want to like turn it off and then change it to like 720 and try again?
Sure, if you wanna.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're gonna do that. We'll be right back after these non-messages because I don't run ads on my Twitch. So, hot minute.
Yeah, boy.
Okay. So, in the meantime, you mentioned Yuri Kuma Arashi earlier. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's basically the only thing that I got right now, except Sailor Moon, but that's not a Yuri, but kinda.
You know, it's really
interesting.
It's
the most bisexual thing I've ever seen in my life.
I was reading a bunch of articles, and if I hadn't had to force close Firefox, I would still have them all up, about, like, the evolution of Yuri and the history of it. And every single one of them talks about Sailor Moon. And I
Well,
thought
Sailor
that
Moon
was really
is
cool.
really important when it comes to it because, like, yeah, because they have Uranus and Neptune,
Mm-hmm.
who's like canon in the relationship, and then we have Usagi, which is just the biggest pansexual ever.
I love Usagi so much.
Me too. I really identify with it because like I fall in love with like almost every like girl I meet.
Mm-hmm.
Just like for a second, but just like we could be in a really good relationship and then I snap out of it. And that's kind of what Usagi is doing all the time too. It's just like she meets someone and then she just like adores them to death and could just like be in a relationship with them and I love that.
I
Like he's
agree.
really pure and makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm. My favorite scene from anything Sailor Moon was in Sailor Moon Crystal when she meets Jupiter for the first time,
Yeah?
and she sits
Oh
down on the
yeah.
bench next to her, and Jupiter's like, "Well, why aren't you afraid of me?" And she's like, "Who would be afraid of a pretty girl with rose earrings?" And I
Yeah.
was just like, that is the most me thing, and it's so pure and wonderful, and I love it.
Well, that is beautiful. No,
Right.
I love it when Uranus and Neptune is introduced. I think it's in season three.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like they're like spying on Uranus because they think like she's a hot dude,
Mm-hmm.
and then like she comes in on her fucking motorcycle, and like
Right.
Neptune comes up on it too, and she's just like beautiful with her violin. It makes me so gay.
I love them both so much.
Oh,
I
I
agree.
I'm gonna try to make the girl that I'm dating into cosplaying Uranus and Neptune because that's my dream. That's like my honestly like my absolute dream. And I
Honestly,
also
that's the
really want to be
goal.
Uranus.
That's
Yeah.
the dream, man. I agree with that.
Yeah. Why be gay if you cannot cosplay gay Sailor Moon characters?
Right? Right.
That's
I
also like
No, go ahead.
hmm? Okay, there's like a fun fact. I don't know if it's like fun or even a fact. Um, but it's like a thing with Tuxedo Mask's friends, like the rock dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like paired up with all the like the inner scouts. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
based on like they were supposed to be together. Um, but there were like apparently it was like the plot was like it was going to be that they would be like cast into the stones forever, and then all the inner scouts would be just like so sad that they'll turn to each other and they'll all be gay couples. Except Usagi and like Mamoru, just like they would be. It's almost canon. It's so close to being canon,
I
but it
know.
isn't.
There's a scene in Crystal in like the first season where Usagi meets Rei for the first time, and she does like those giant
Yeah,
hard eyes on the bus, and I'm just like me.
yeah, me too.
Right? It's like I
Relatable
somebody
content.
somebody tried to argue with me that Usagi was straight once, and I said yes because I too make hard eyes at beautiful women on the bus in a totally platonic way.
Oh, no, I'm just the biggest gay.
I know.
Oh,
Um Okay, well, so in my sort of general note outline of
yeah,
kind of what's going on with this. So I guess you know what we haven't done for this entire however long we've been live at this point is
yeah,
actually like define Yuri and talk about what it is and why we like it.
yeah,
Which is probably a thing that like if people have are tuning into this for the first time have no idea what Yuri is, hi, welcome, we're about to change your life. um and I guess like I was reading a couple of definitions, but basically it's a very broad genre, but it encompasses pretty much any sort of anime or manga with lesbian themes.
yeah.
And I think the reason why that was so like revolutionary and life-changing to me was because American media doesn't have a lot of gay people.
Oh, that's true.
When I was a little kid, the only explicitly queer thing that I ever watched was Will and Grace, and I still didn't understand what lesbians were because
Hmm.
they had them in Will and Grace, but they were always like kind of the butt of the joke because the show was about the gay men in the 90s. and there was still that
Yeah.
like weird stereotype that gay men and lesbians like could never be friends and not get along.
Yeah.
So pretty much all of the lesbians in that show were portrayed as like these really butch, like anti-effeminate type characters. And it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was always a tomboy growing up, but I still like, I love pink things and pretty things. I got a giant collection of Nendoroids on one side of my room and a huge bin of stuffed animals on the other. Um,
Love that.
and so it never was really an identity that clicked with me because it didn't apply to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I started like reading Yuri manga and watching things like Sailor Moon and things like this, and I was like, oh wait, this is like a real thing. Like this is a thing that can apply to me. And
Yeah.
that's why, and although like a lot of Yuri, to be fair, like is queer but like almost in a no homo way.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of the like what do you call it? High school genre stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, well, we'll be in a relationship and then we'll graduate and we'll go on and we'll like actually be
Yeah.
productive members of society and date men. And it's like, that's complete bullshit. But the stories that are told, like the actual romances that happen, those I just really like because I read those and I think, oh, that's something that's like possible for me as well. And almost nobody
Yeah.
dies in a lot of Yuri manga, especially in like that
Which
sort
is
of
really
high
good.
schoolish genre, which is great.
That is actually great. I
So
agree.
that's sort of my take on why I'm like super into this. What about you?
Well, growing up, I didn't have any like I come from Norway, so I'm brought up with a lot of Norwegian and weird European dubbed TV. Um, so I don't think I ever had anything to look at that said lesbian ever growing up. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have Sailor Moon. I had Digimon and Pokemon. That was the two animes that got translated to Norwegian TV. Sailor Moon came to Sweden and Denmark, but not Norway for some reason.
Hmm.
Um, so I think my first encounter with Yuri was probably around we had a con in Norway called Icon, which was explicit like Yuri and oh I forgot the male version. What is
Yaoi.
that name? And then you glitched out. I cannot hear you.
Yaoi.
Yaoi, yeah. So it was basically like Yuri and Yaoi con, and I did not go there, but I watched like a video from it, and I was like, oh, so there's like an actual like specific thing that got like girls love in it. That's really fun. And after like kind of understanding my own sexuality, I kind of realized that I was starting to like seek out characters and like trying to find something that I identified with. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I started watching Sailor Moon because it was really recommended as like something that has iconic gay characters in it and also a little bit of a fun element in it with like in the dub that Uranus and Neptune are cousins.
Cousins, yeah.
Yeah, which is very, very funny.
People can no
So I was just
longer
like,
see
okay, I'll do
us,
that.
but they can't see me doing the air quotes for that, but yes.
Yeah. So like I started like looking out for stuff and then I watched Yuri Raji because I really liked the art style.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only like totally Yuri 100% Yuri and like Yuri anime thing I've ever watched because I'm really behind. Like I have a really long list of stuff I'm gonna like I want to watch and then I'm gonna watch in between these episodes. You can kind of see my growth in Yuri. But right now I'm a baby lesbian. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
baby Yuri.
I,
Um
yeah.
yeah.
And I was thinking about running this podcast as sort of like a book club.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
the
I love that.
like every 2 weeks we just come on and we have like our topic picked out from the last show. I was thinking for next week we might do Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Oh, I would love that.
Okay,
I
cool.
need
Because
I need a reason to watch it.
so here's why I am a bad Yuri fan. I've never seen it. I know.
Oh,
I know. And so
oh,
that's kind of why I want it to be the first one that we do so I can actually have an excuse to watch it.
I would love that. I'm
Um,
totally down.
yeah,
I'm gonna try to watch
so
as much as I can. I'm going into exam period right now,
mhm.
which means that I have a lot of time to procrastinate in between writing, which
Mhm.
means that I can probably watch stuff. And also, if anything that has a dub, like I know that people are very against dubs, but they're very nice for us cosplayers,
I've
who's
found,
looking away a little bit.
yeah, I've found that when I watch things, I like to be either crafting or I'm just have it on in the background. And as I've come out of that sort of like edgelord teenage phase where I think I'm better than everybody else, and I think that like things are
Yeah,
really black and white, I've found that like, yeah, there are some dubs that are legitimately awful, but a lot of them are really good, and a lot of people put in a lot of work into making them. Um,
yeah.
like a lot of people in the Yuri community give the Dragon Maid dub a lot of flack. And I
Hmm.
don't understand why. Number one, I think actually
Haven't
some of the
seen it.
jokes are funnier. Um, I know, I actually, that's a lie. I know exactly why. I read a really interesting article on Anime Feminist about it, where
Huh.
in the Japanese version, Kobayashi like
Yeah.
doesn't specifically turn Toru down, but in the dub she does.
Hmm.
And I actually, let's just talk about why I think that interpretation is silly. Um,
Yeah.
the line Toru says something about being like in love with Kobayashi in like a sexual way, and
Yeah.
in the Japanese version, Kobayashi only says, "But I'm a human." Like that's her response to that. In the dub,
Yeah.
she like makes a joke about not being into women or dragons,
Huh.
and it's a very interesting localizational change, and I think that there's definitely like an argument that can be made that Kobayashi turning her down in the dub is a lot more explicit. But I also
Yeah.
think that that interpretation kind of ignores the difference between sexual and romantic love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see.
Yeah. So it's like all of the things that happen in that anime, which will definitely be one of our things for this podcast.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat every once in a while and getting distracted because it's very silly. I love everybody who's watching this right now. um anyway, um but if you look at the development of their relationships in terms of the development of a romantic relationship that doesn't
Yeah.
explicitly have to be sexual, it still works.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I gotta get around to watching it.
it's really cute. It's really funny. Um
Yeah.
there's fan servicey elements of it that I don't agree with, but I feel like that's pretty much any Yuri that you're ever gonna watch.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Um,
They know, just like they know that they'll get like viewers from showing like some ass and some titties.
yeah.
So just kind of gotta like accept it, I guess.
Yeah, but also it's interesting the difference between a lot of Yuri that's like written by men or for men versus a lot of Yuri
Yeah,
that's written by
of
women or
course.
for women. Because I've noticed that the
Yeah.
ones that are more aimed at women or written by queer women tend to not have that.
Yeah.
Or they don't have that as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It's sort of like why it's the difference between something like Sweet Blue Flowers and something like Citrus,
Yeah.
where Citrus is like very explicitly designed for the male gaze, um, and Sweet Blue Flowers isn't as much. It's just a story about a girl who like learns to come out and accept the fact that she's queer,
Mm.
which was actually the first Yuri anime that I had ever watched. Um,
Hmm.
and it's really good.
Nice.
But what else do I have in my sort of that was pretty much all I had for my notes. Well, let's see. What else can I think of off the top of my head? I have so this is something that will probably come up in this podcast a lot. I have a collection of Yuri manga.
Yeah.
And it's how many books do I have right now? 7, 8, 9. I have 16 different
Oh
volumes of
wow.
manga in this collection right now.
Oh wow. I
I
didn't get to bring any of my manga
yeah,
when I moved out. They're still at my hometown.
I pretty much just everything I own is in this room ever since the thing where I had to move out and change my living situation. Um, but a lot of it is anime bullshit. um,
I
and
love that.
Percy takes up like a good quarter of this room.
I believe that.
Yeah, his cage chinchillas require a lot of space. Turns out.
Yeah.
But he's
They
very
deserve a
cute,
lot of
so
space.
right. I mean, he's so perfectly around. He deserves everything.
Yeah. Oh, I miss my cat.
I'm allergic to cats.
No.
I
Oh, but
know.
how can you be queer and not get to enjoy cats?
I didn't say I don't enjoy cats. I love cats. I
Oh,
think they're the best. I just have to
okay,
like
good.
inhale antihistamines before I go visit them.
Yeah, but like, I think that's something I'm willing to do.
Exactly. Like we have in the choir that I'm a part of, we have practice sometimes at our director's house, and he has a cat,
Yeah.
and it's our mascot. She's our
Mhm.
practice mascot, and she likes to sing with us. It's adorable.
Oh, that's cute. I love that.
Okay, so let's kind of circle back now. Um,
Yeah.
when you are looking at like your favorite Yuri series, and I think our answers are going to be different. Do you prefer like comedy or
Yeah.
drama series?
Um, well, oh, that's a good question. I like I have problems when it gets too fan servicey, too like too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm very content with like again like Sailor Moon, which is very like gentle and just like stuff happens and it's nice and you feel warm inside.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I get bored of that after some time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I'm very like in the middle. I need both, but not. I think Madoka was good.
Yeah, no, I love Madoka. Um, I
Yeah.
love. Well, preface that I loved Madoka until the Rebellion movie happened, and then I wanted to throw Homura out a window.
I love Homer, but I haven't watched that movie.
Okay,
It's like it's on my iPad. I know
mhm.
what happens, but I won't accept it.
I
I think
don't.
that's my thing.
I just
Why I
hate
haven't gotten
Rebellion.
around.
I love the entire series. Rebellion it's fan fiction to me at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did like it was I hate that when like the very ending of something kind of taints the rest of the thing for you,
Yeah.
because when I watched Madoka, I loved it. I loved like everything about
Yeah.
it. The series is probably like one of my top 10 magical girl
Yeah.
series. Um and then I watched Rebellion, and now I feel like I can't talk about it without adding that context into it, and it just makes the whole thing worse, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend it. The animation is beautiful. I will say that. Like it's very visually appealing. But the rest of it is just kind of whatever. Um I'm trying to think of like, oh, I guess I should answer the question that I posed as well. Um I tend to just watch more comedy things in general. But
Mm-hmm.
so I tend to gravitate more towards like the Dragon Maids and the Yuru Yuris and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I want more Sailor Moon type stuff where it's just like romantic magical adventures sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I really like Little Witch Academia.
Yeah.
Because Little Witch Academia is not explicitly queer in any way. Like it's
Yeah.
not even like Sound Euphonium where it's like just a lot of Yuri bait. It's like not even like that. It's just a Harry Potter type magical show. Um
Hmm.
but the cast and to a kind of lesser extent the writers both ship Akko and Diana together. And it's very
Aw.
obvious in like some of the art and some of the way that their friendship is written.
Yeah.
And it's just like a very organic, like I could see an actual relationship coming out of that relationship sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just nice and fun to watch. And to be frank, that's another reason why I just really like anime, because it's fun to watch women do
Yeah.
cool things and not have to worry. American media is terrible. I think that's just what it boils down to.
I love it.
Yeah.
It has some problematic elements with the trend of killing off or giving like queer characters just like a lot of mental issues and problems. Not really giving them much of a personality out of that. It's just like you're gay, so that's your struggle, that's your life. So then like that's also why I like Yuri and stuff like that, which is like, yeah, we're gay, but we're also doing shit. And we're
Right?
not gonna die. We're doing it. We're having fun, and then we smooch a little bit because we're in a relationship like normal people. It's
Right?
like, wow. It's amazing how like people who are in love can actually be normal people.
I know, it's so shocking,
Fucking
right?
amazing. Yeah. It's like a reveal. You would never expect that.
I
I
know.
thought that that queer people were just like rubbing titties and just like that was all that they did. What they do in the porn.
Well, that actually brings up
Ugh.
another Yuri element that I think is worth talking about, which is the angst leading up to the happy ending, leading up to nothing else. That's where it ends.
Yeah.
Because that is, I'm looking at my my collection here, and at least 5, if not more, of these. To be fair, a lot of these are from a series. That's why I have so many of them. But it's like at least 5 or 6 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 10 series that I have here, which is a good over half. Is like just angst, like the oh no, I shouldn't be allowed to be in love with you, and oh, I don't know what to do with my feelings for you nonsense. And then they
Oh.
get together, and then that's the end of the book. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, I want like exactly what you were talking about. I want like these queer people who are in a really happy relationship who just go out and do things and live their lives but continue to be in a
Yeah.
happy queer relationship.
Yeah.
Which is why I really like the Kase-san series.
Yeah.
That just got localized into America like a year ago, which, by the way,
Yeah.
it has never been a better time to be a Yuri fan in America, because I remember like 4 years ago when I had first started getting into this, there was
Yeah.
nothing. There was like no manga that was localized. There was like no series. And now,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, Seven Seas Entertainment has decided that that's all they're going to publish.
Oh,
So
nice.
we just have a lot of it now. Like I go to a bookstore and I can find all of the different series and they're all there. Which is really, really good. But yeah, the
Yeah.
Kase-san series is really good for not doing it. It like the first chapter is them getting together, and then there's 4 volumes of just them living their lives and being in a relationship.
Ooh,
And it's like
I love that.
that's what I want to read about. I don't want to read Girlfriends, which God bless Milk Morinaga as one of the penultimate Yuri authors, but reading Girlfriends just makes me want to punch it. Because it's these 2 really, really thick volumes that are probably like at least an inch and a half thick each, and they don't get together until like the last chapter.
Mm,
And
that's boring.
it was the most frustrating thing to read. I remember when I got these and I was sitting on the couch reading them while my ex kept walking through the house because he was going in and out because he was working on like some construction thing outside. And he'd
Yeah.
walk by about every 20 minutes of like the 2.5 hours it took me to read these books, and I would be growingly more frustrated every time he would walk past. Because I'd be like, they're not girlfriends yet. Why? Why is this taking so long?
Ugh.
And
No,
that's,
like I relate.
yeah.
Like I think that's a problem with most queer media is that it's gotta be like a coming out story or a I think my friend is straight, but we're gonna try to get together anyway kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm gonna kill myself because I'm queer kind of story.
Right?
There's not like, hey, I'm gay. I have feelings for you. Oh, you have feelings for me too. Nice. Let's date a little bit. Let's grow our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like straight things where you can just like, yeah, but that's the romantic subplot, which is totally normal. Like, why does that like why can't it be a subplot?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it have to always be the main plot
Mm-hmm.
of everything?
You know, there was an episode of Steven Universe that I still think is like one of the best queer media things that I've seen. And if anybody in the chat, by the way,
Yeah.
has recommendations, please send them, because I will gladly watch everything. But there's this one episode of Steven Universe where they decide to go
Yeah.
to a concert with Pearl. I can't remember the name of it right now. But it's essentially like every teen coming of age movie, but with a queer romance at the center.
Oh, I love that.
And it was so good. And I love like cheesy teen movies and like coming of age romance stories.
Yeah.
So it was like this revelation to me to see this like 10-minute episode that had everything I loved about those movies, but it was queer.
Hmm.
And so I recommend that. I don't remember the name of it for everybody in the chat, but I'll figure it out. No, you're not gonna do that right now, Percy. That's not happening. I hope that didn't pick up on the mic. Percy has decided that
I don't get that.
Percy's decided that he wants to run.
Oh, but I cannot hear it, so.
Okay, good. Because his wheel makes a lot of noise. And you're not even supposed to be up anyway. It's 2 p.m. Anyway. But yeah, so, and even in the comedy series where it's mostly just like the sexuality played for laughs sort of thing, like there's enough that I relate to with a lot of these characters. Like there's enough, yeah, that's funny because that's true.
Yeah.
For it to be fun and enjoyable. I like watching queer romances that are sweet and fun and enjoyable. That's really what it comes down to. I feel like we need less angst. Like that's why I didn't watch the 100.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten around to watch it either because I know what happens and it's just like I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to watch that. That's one of the reasons why I what's it called? I really like Carmilla, which is a YouTube series about queer vampires, and if you haven't watched it, you should go check it out. It's fantastic.
I'll watch it.
It's based on this like book from like the 1800s that's like the OG vampire series, like even before Dracula. And it's about lesbian vampires. It's about this girl who's a reporter for her school, and all of these girls are going missing, and turns out that this like lesbian vampire is behind all of it, but then they fall in love and then they work to like fight supernatural creatures. That's it. That's the show. And that I think strikes a really good mix between having a lot of the like tragic star-crossed lovers elements of romance while still having like a happy ending.
Yeah.
Because I think that it's like totally possible to do a queer star-crossed lovers romance well. It's just the fact that we've done this so many times, and every single time it has a horrible ending.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't we have more happy endings for queer people?
No, it's like I read somewhere that that the trend of killing off gay characters started already in the early 1900s in literature, where just like gay people would just like kill left and right, like they kill themselves or they get killed. And that just like kind of translated into our times, where just like that's the norm, that's like a common plot line. Like it's basically like killing off a gay character is basically the same thing as nerdy girl gets a makeover and becomes the most popular girl at school. Like it's basically like it's the same trope. So I'm really like I'm always saying that I'm really excited for like 3 generations past me, because maybe they don't have to sit through all this bullshit and maybe just like they get like queer media is like the norm. We're like, yeah, they're lesbian, no, they're straight, no, they're bi, like it's normal,
right?
Like I'm really hoping for that. That's what I want. So it's like, and I'm sad that I will never live to see it, but I will try to participate into pushing it forward. That's my goal.
Exactly. And that's like one of the goals of this podcast, is to have queer women talking about Yuri, because I feel like when I see Yuri talked about on the internet, it's almost always straight men.
Yeah.
And
true.
Now that I've been, digging to do research for this podcast, I've found a plethora of wonderful essays and things that I will also probably link to in the description when this goes on YouTube, of just really good like feminist Yuri theory. But the fact that I had to like dig for it is the problem.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like, when we continue to do this, we will be able to talk about a lot of these shows, talk about a lot of these themes, and do so like using our queer experience as a basis for it. Like, I am totally okay with when we start doing the book club format, it's like, oh, this part in Utena reminded me of this one date I went on, and that's why I think it's funny. Like, perfect. 10 out of 10 podcast content. I'm not aiming for this to be like a super serious sort of like discussion thing. It's more just like, hey, we're really queer and we really like Yuri, let's talk about it.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Right? So I think that's actually pretty much a good first episode, given the given the video nonsense that happened, and then so far this is clocking in about 35 minutes, so with the video it's probably going to be about 50 minutes, which I think is perfect, especially because we didn't really have a topic. So why don't we go ahead, since there are some people in the chat, why don't we spend a few minutes doing listener questions?
I see that Smiley has already said something.
Yeah, so, Smiley, do you think that the reason why a lot of straight men talk about Yuri is because when the word Yuri comes up, most people immediately think of porn rather than any lesbian anime stuff? That's an excellent question. Yeah,
and it's really, really true. It comes from the, like, lesbian porn. First of all, it's not made for lesbians or by lesbians. It's made for male entertainment. There's nothing real about stiletto heels and long-ass fucking fingernails. Nothing real about it. And that's also the problem with Yuri, is that, like, it's very bound up to hentai and all those, like, bad things on the internet. Like, boys like seeing like girls on each other because it's like two of the thing they like. So like that kind of ruins it for like queer media and stuff.
And it's so uncomfortable
because
too.
Then you like it's terribly sexualized.
And it's like, stop. I can't remember who or what it was that I was looking at on, I think it had to have been Twitter. And but it was somebody like talking about Yuri, but they were very, very clearly like a guy. And just some of the things they were saying, I was like, this is like deeply uncomfortable. You really need to stop fetishizing my sexuality, bro.
Yeah.
And
that's,
I don't know.
It's like a really...
Go on, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's a big problem with the sexualization of lesbians and queer women, because of all this, like, everything is made for the male gaze, which is, like, a really big thing, like, especially with porn, and advertisements, is that, like, since, like, cisgender white male is the strongest. Everybody is like going after pleasing that guy, which is really problematic and really wrong and shouldn't be a thing. But apparently we decided to build our society on it, so like good on us.
Right.
So things just like it gets ruined by the straight white man, and that's what we're trying to ruin again.
Well, I mean,
Because like lesbians aren't inherently sexual. It's like it's a lot more that goes into being in a like in a relationship with a girl than just rubbing titty and putting long ass nails up in there.
I have a good story about this actually.
Yeah.
So this one time I was at a house party. That was at my house, so I guess I should say one time I was hosting a house party. And the concept of like Yuri came up somehow. And so I like immediately got really excited and like rushed to my bookshelf and I was like, let me show you all of my Yuri manga. And like everybody there started making porn jokes. Of oh, Caitlin's pulling out her porn again. And I was like, God, and I had to take literally the entire party stopped and I gave like a 15-minute fucking dissertation on why like Yuri manga wasn't porn. And so I do definitely think to answer your question, Smiley, that it is unfortunately like really tied to a lot of those sentiments, and that's one of the things that, you know, we're gonna try to change and hopefully will change as, you know, queer people become less demonized in society. Does anybody else have a question? Shout out, by the way, to Bitter Knave. I do see you. Thank you so much for watching. We interrupt your party to explain why you're full of shit. Yeah, literally, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Do you think things like same-sex rom-coms will ever be promoted in the same way that straight rom-coms will ever happen? Or do you think it will always remain a niche genre? I hope we have more, like, mainstream queer rom-coms.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, sorry.
It's coming up. It's like queer characters are coming in and they're actually doing kind of a good job with it. The show 13 Reasons Why, which was a problematic show from hell, it was the worst. It was not good at all. But it did have subtle gay characters that they were never in a relationship. They never did anything that was like inherently gay. They were just the main character's best friend, who was also gay. And I love that. Like, that's the only, like, redeeming part of that fucking show, because that was a shit show. But it's, like, it gives me hope that one day, like, it will just, like, be normal, because it's getting normal with all the legalization of, like, gay marriage and stuff. I think we're gonna see a bigger demographic of gay people wanting gay stuff and wanting, like, the representation and also the importance of the representation. Like, for me, as a little Norwegian kid who never had any gay representation growing up, and now, like, having to actively search for it, it's really important from, like, a kid can understand being gay as just something, like, that adults do, where it's just, like, you fell in love with that person. Okay, cool. Having to explain stuff and introduce stuff to people when they're older makes it, like, foreign and strange and weird. So I think by putting queer media into mainstream media and just make that, like, it may just be two gays or two lesbians, so just like they're living together, that's the thing, not a joke, that's just a relationship. I think that would be great for just like showing people that, yeah, no, this is normal.
Apparently, why wouldn't that in Star Trek Discovery now? There's a really good queer relationship with Anthony Rapp, and I don't know the name of the other actor, but I haven't been able to watch Star Trek Discovery because CBS is stupid. Okay, I think we'll do one more question and then we'll cap it off because we're at about 40 minutes. So, do you think little kids in school will ever stop using gay as a generally negative term? That's up to the parents, I think.
Yeah.
To, like, teach tolerance and acceptance. I think if, like, we as a society start, and this again kind of goes back to what you were saying about meshing queer media and mainstream media. I think when that happens and gay people, at least in the US, stop being seen as like the other thing, then it'll stop being a dumb insult that middle schoolers use.
Yeah. No, it's like that has always been so weird to me that someone can call someone gay and then being hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird. Like, I don't get hurt when people call me straight. Like, there's no negative about it. It's like, oh yeah, so I'm getting a good relationship with someone that I love. Oh, that's an insult. Oh, I feel hurt. It's like, it's so weird to me that could be an insult.
And I think it's like how the intent is viewed rather than the insult itself, because I do agree with you, like the insult itself is meaningless, but it's the what do we teach to my students?
It's a stigma that comes
the
with it.
Connotation rather than the denotation that matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is actually one of the things that I do think about a lot as an educator is how do I help my students become more socially aware without you know, crossing a line to where I'm gonna be, you know, burned at the stake. For lack of a better way to put that. But that is, I think, all the time we have. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to this very first episode. I hope it went really well. It was kind of a lot of rambling, but I think it went great.
I love rambling.
Right? And so I think we'll be back same time in 2 weeks. And
something like that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Revolutionary Girl Utena. That'll be our next topic.
Woo!
Yeah, so thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time.